From the world of AV programming and control with James King, I'm Steve Greenblatt, and this is Ask the Programmer. James, how are you today?
I'm good, Stephen. Yourself?
Doing well. I'm glad we're back. We have a guest today, so it's been a few episodes where you and I have had our fireside chats, and those have been fun. But it's great to have a guest and somebody that we've gotten to know a bit. James, you've worked with this person, and I know that he came highly recommended.
Oh yeah, no, I've been connected with this person for a while. Awesome, very knowledgeable. Every time we connect, it just wealth of information comes from this uh person. So I can't wait to hear what information he can provide our listeners.
Excellent, and I would agree. So, without further ado, Chi Hang Lo from UCLA. He's the manager of AV IT Solutions. Welcome, Chi. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, thank you, Steve and James, for your invitation. I think that this is a great opportunity to share our ideas together.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know that you've been doing AV for some time, and you have an engineering and kind of an architectural view on systems and so forth, and but you also get involved with working with programmers. So give us a little bit of background about those details. How did you get into AV, and also your connection with programming?
Oh, great. Yeah, so my undergrad was architecture. So when I first graduated, I worked with a architectural firm to do a lot of mixed use for hospitality and shopping mall design. And then also I do a lot of AV related investigation at this time, but I was an architect, so that I do not really do any programming and study. I just kind of working with the physical aspect for the AV system design, right? And then I transitioned to a construction material company, so that we do more custom make for the requirement that deal with AV system design. This draw my interest to try to think about this industry at this point. But before I do architecture, I study information technology. This kind of give me the foundation about programming, system design, and integration. And then when found an opportunity from my previous job, USC, they hire a system designer and business analyst, and then I jump in. So that started my whole AV conversation. So I've been with USC about 9 years. So I kind of from a business analyst to go through different projects, and then transition to a solutions architect to more oversee the enterprise deployment. And then at that time, I have in-house the developer programmers to help to do a lot of programming. And also I see that how important to design AV system have an enterprise perspective, because when you do one or two room, that's easy, that's fine, right? But when you kind of talk about 1,000 room, that's a very different compensation. One small changes can add a lot of time and problems, right? So to make sure that have a flow to kind of validate and also to reduce the impact for deployment, that is extremely important.
Wow, that is very refreshing, quite honestly. And I'll let James chime in, but it's really nice to be able to have somebody that has that well-rounded background and perspective that you have, but can also and gives you the opportunity to think that of a bigger picture view. I think a lot of times we have looked at programming as being per system, and to your point, when you're deploying a large quantity of systems, looking at it per system is really inefficient.
I 100% agree there, Steve. I think it was great, especially hearing from Chi, his path. And I, I I chopped this up because if we heard that right, she started with IT, your information technology. Same with me. I was an IT major in college, and I think we both took from that experience of, most IT does look at holistically systems. They don't look at rooms or individual. They look at the whole system in scale. And I think our background in that allows us to do that here. I'll admit she is a lot better at it than I am.
Well, I don't wouldn't say to sell yourself short. I think that it's really important because I think that we have trained ourselves to take a certain approach, and similar to the idea that we're transitioning from a programming in a proprietary world to software development in more of a mainstream and situation is really important to be able to get on that road.
Yeah, I do agree because AV and then IT is a really big arena, right? So that there's so many different players needed to have a solution to solve, and then your solution will be very unique. My solution will be very unique. Maybe some of the area we can collaborate. Maybe some area we're totally different. We cannot really implement it, but all the experience will help us to kind of have a better understanding how to target for the next challenge. That's I see that this is a really great to have a collaboration with different teams, different people to learn about the perspective about AV and IT.
Can you share maybe one or two of the bigger lessons you've learned, whether it's positive or negative, since you've gotten into the world of AV and understood how we handle things and how we approach programming?
Oh, I think that programming and infrastructure is like there is a very close relationship. Yeah. So as I mentioned it earlier, so that when we design one or two rooms, so just say basically one or two processor in the space that will handle the work very nicely, right? But when you start to scale it more and more, you would need to think about centralization, right? So how you can centralize all the control for the programmer can hit all the devices at a single location. And then you would need to deal with security, service maintenance, and also even the firmware update. So those information is need to articulate is not only for programming development, but also for the holistic architecture design. So I see that a lot of newer cutting edge solution is more taking this approach using like the container, so to kind of allow them to more easier to scale to when I talk to a lot of new solution, I just based on my past experience I asked, what is the server requirement? Is that that's not a requirement anymore, or I just scale as much as you want. So that's kind of make me to think about how the future enterprise solution, what will we look like, right? So as the traditional way, we always define it, the set up the requirement. Then when you hit to the limit, right? So then you have to scale it another boxes or virtual machine, right? But when you have a container solution, you scale it, you orchestrate it, and then make sure that your load balancer is working well with all the container. I think that will be a very smart approach in the future AV system control. And then also when you have, let's say, right, not that too much, 200 rooms, right? When you need to coordinate all the software updates, when you have local processor or something is not a centralized management solution, manageable solution, you will have a hard time to make all the software programming consistent. So I think that this will be some area for the AV industry need to think about, not just selling the box, right, but also selling the solution behind the hardware.
I love that. And again, just to allude to a past episode, James and I talked about
Mm,
distributed versus centralized control. And so if you want to go back to our take on it, you can go back to a previous episode. But cheese is so much more advanced and so much, this is so much more enlightening. So stay here and continue to listen, and then you can compare the things that we said. But I a couple of things I wanted to key in on. One, we're going to come back to the container conversation perhaps in our next episode, so stay tuned for that as a little teaser. But one of the things that you're talking about is really that cloud-based solution, so that you're not dependent on the hardware. You're in the room per se, and you have so much more flexibility. Is there what should people know about that? And you mentioned security, you mentioned scalability. Is there anything else that if a programmer or an integrator was listening that they should know when kind of moving into that realm if they haven't done it before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So back then to the day, and then when I deployed the AV over IP solution, I have a lot of collaboration between their network engineers, their security office, and then also with the AV developer, right? So we found out that some of the AV solution, they're not encrypted. So basically they just send the command without encryption, right? So with this is very talented student, they capture the package. They can see what you're doing. And then also that will be extremely challenge when someone captured the command, right? So that they modify it and then they send it to the destination. It's just not what you want, right? So I think that to make sure that end-to-end encryption for every communication, this is extremely important. And then the good thing is right now the cloud solution is the latency is very low for system control. So let's using the Apple TV example, right? So that the Apple TV is a very basic AV devices. You very easy to deploy, configure it from the Apple side, right? So and then how this can be let's say for the enterprise solution, how they handle the security, how they scale, manage all the devices. This solution, I always want to bring it to the developments, right? To have the mindset, how I can make their work with the programmer to deploy the solution, configure all the devices, have very limited, very low effort, right? So as we have an earlier discussion, how we can have a right graph surface, right, turnkey solution. So whatever plug into the network, and then they would communicate with the required information and then self-configure it. So that's will minimum all the error. So because when you do too many manual configuration, you always have error, right? And then also you is not scalable, right? So everything you have to be manually to make a plan to do that. So when the developer or programmer can create a system, can script to all the devices, they can push to all the devices to maintain their consistency and also to enable the scalability. That will be I believe that the future generation of the developer, they really would need to look into it. And then even though the hardware solution may not have the off-the-shelf solution, I see that a lot of talented programmer to create their own program using Docker, using their own Python to create an additional program to accomplish the task to make it happen. So this is pretty amazing for me to see that that's how the AV system go.
Wow, that again, that's so valuable for people to hear, and it's really, I mean, you guys are really on the leading edge of things. James, what are your thoughts about some of these concepts, and how close is the rest of the industry to what Chi is doing?
So first, I'll take the latter on that one, a question first,
Mhm.
of how close the industry is to what she's doing. Not even within the same room, not even the same building, not even the same zip code. Chi and his team are light years, I feel, ahead. Um, Thoughts I have on what Chi said is spot on. Things I know Chi has been saying, but I've also been saying, and some others from day one, like, security and, scalability and, standards, even though I know Chi didn't mention it, but kind of the theme was there, standards. Um, the key thing is I want our listeners to, go back and really listen to what Chi said. He made it sound very simple, but it's not. And and I
So
know
true.
he knows that. I know his team knows that. He has the experts around him to make the system seem simple, but it's very complicated, especially the end-to-end encryption. Even knowing what that is, it takes somebody who really understands that to understand, yes, it is true end-to-end encryption, or if it's not. She kind of went over real easy. Like to him, it's simple because she thinks that way. Um, so yeah, no, he made everything's like, oh, this is very simple, but it does take a lot of work and a lot of expertise.
You know what else I got from it? It's a lot of collaboration. And it's
Yes.
Hmm.
fine, finally we're at a point where we're not working in silos, or we're not looking at saying that there's throw the project over the fence and and let and run away and let let the other people deal with how to make it work. This is from the very beginning. It's collaborative, and it could only work if that way, because gee, what you mentioned and I picked up on is that you need the support from your network ops people, and you need the support from the manufacturers, and you need the support from the programmer, and you need to be able to make good choices to make this all work. It can't just be one entity that pulls this through.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Okay. No, go ahead, James.
Oh, all I was going to say, yeah, collaboration is definitely in there. Good catch on that one, Steve. Another thing I also caught on there was planning ahead. And it reminds me of the saying is put the work in now and play later, or play now and work harder later. Um, and you can see by Chi and his team, they're putting the work in now. They're putting the hard work in now so they can play easy later, and things are easy for their team. So yeah, again, planning, collaboration is all key.
Yeah, and also I want to say that I am so fortunate. Yeah, so at the past I have a lot of good helper to help me. So, and then also right now I do have a great team to kind of help me to explore a different area to execute something no one done it before. So, and then to kind of to important that for the programmers, right? So they also I have a conversation with my programmer Kenny a lot, so that because he also we are looking for the development perspective, right? We're not only looking for just coding, so we also need to understand what is the UI framework is available, right? From Google, from Apple, right? So what is, and then for the also for HTML, what kind of framework is available? We have a really long discussion before to using the framework is not only to make your work faster, but when there's some bug hitting the or security concern, right? So the framework, someone will release the patch, and then you don't need to deal with by yourself. And also allow you to connect with the community to kind of to get support as well. And then also right now we're doing a lot of cloud initiative and developments, right? So that also we would really need to get the programmer to understand more network and more understand that how security works. So fortunately, also in my team, also I have the enterprise solution architect as well to kind of to make the plan for all the infrastructure work out before the AV programmer to do any amazing work. So that's worked very, very well. But I also wish that with some of the area I can share with different people. Yeah, I really willing to share to you.
That's really fantastic. I think we're going to wrap this episode up, but please stay tuned to the next one. She's going to stay with us for to dig a little bit deeper on some of the items that he touched on in this conversation in our next episode. So be sure to tune in on that. But until then, Chi, how can people get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing, learn more about what's happening with your team at UCLA?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So to connect with me is very straightforward. So my name is Chi Hagno, CHIHANGLO at chi.ucla.edu. This is my email. And then also when you search from LinkedIn, you can using Chi Hang Lo, you will be able to find me as well. So feel free to connect me through LinkedIn, and then I can make a connection with you.
Absolutely, and highly encouraged. Please do that. We need more of this type of thought, and it would be, and your willingness to share is also very generous. So thank you. James, how can people get in touch with you, learn more about what you're up to, and continue this conversation?
Oh, I don't want people getting a hold of me. Get a hold of Chi. Chi is the brains. He has such wealth of information. Definitely connect with him. But if you're inclined to reach out to me, you can get me on socials as at AV_James King. I'm on LinkedIn in the Ask the Programmer community on LinkedIn. Anything with HEPMA. Again, if you Google me, you'll find me.
Wonderful. And I would agree that reach out and connect with G before connecting with us. But if you'd like to find me, you could find me on socials at Steve Greenblatt and my company, Control Concepts. We are a supporter of this podcast. And what we do is we help build some of the components that allow programmers to interface with products easier and do some added functionality in systems. And you could find those at controlconcepts.net. As James said, we have a LinkedIn community called Ask the Programmer. We ask that you join us there, and we'd love to be able to expand upon some of these conversations and make connections and be able to have a gathering of people that are like-minded and want to either expand their programming skills or learn more about programming. So that's a great place to connect and do that. And if you don't already know, we have a video version of this podcast on YouTube and the audio version on your favorite podcast player. Two opportunities to reach us and leave a rating, review, or comment, which is very much appreciated. And we'd like to hear from you. If you're interested in sharing an idea or providing feedback or being a guest like Chi has been, please reach out and we would love to have you. And we really want to be able to explore some new ideas and trending topics in the industry. So thanks for listening and watching. Until next time, this has been Ask the Programmer.